You might already know more English than you think. Seriously. The problem is not your vocabulary. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to practice real English the way real people speak it. Let's go. Let's start with something simple. The sentence, I don't know. 3 words. You probably already know this one. But here is what most beginners do. They freeze when they don't know something, and they stay silent. Silence feels safer. But in English, saying I don't know is completely normal. It is not embarrassing. It is honest. Imagine you are at work and your boss asks you a question you cannot answer. You look at him and say, I don't know, but I can find out. That is a confident, natural response. That is adult English. So the next time someone asks you something and you have no idea, say it out loud, I don't know. Now, let's keep moving. Another sentence you need in your daily life. Can you say that again? This is gold for beginners. People speak fast. People mumble. People use words you have never heard. And instead of nodding and pretending you understood, which we have all done, let's be honest, you can just ask them to repeat. Can you say that again? It is polite, it is clear, and native speakers use it all the time too. Picture this. You are on the phone with a customer service agent, and they say something really fast about your account. You have no idea what just happened. You say, can you say that again, please? And they slow down and repeat it. That one sentence just saved you from a lot of confusion. Say it now. Can you say that again? Here is one that will make your daily life so much easier. I need help. These 3 words open doors. A lot of beginners feel shy about asking for help because they think it makes them look weak or they worry their English is not good enough. But think about it, in any language, asking for help is smart. You are in a supermarket and you cannot find the bread. You walk up to someone and say, excuse me, I need help finding something. That person will help you. No drama.
No embarrassment.
Just 2 humans communicating. I need help. 3 words. Use them. Let's talk about something that trips people up every single day. The phrase, I'm sorry. Now, you probably know this phrase. But here is the tricky part. There are different reasons to say it. Sometimes, I'm sorry, means you made a mistake. Sometimes it means you feel sad for someone. And sometimes, and this is important, it means you did not hear someone clearly. I'm sorry, said with a small rise in your voice, is the same as can you repeat that? It is short, natural, and very common. So if someone says something and you missed it, you do not have to give a long explanation. You just say, I'm sorry, and they will repeat themselves. Try it. I'm sorry. Now, let's practice something a little longer. The phrase, I'm not sure, but I think. This is such a useful phrase because real conversations are full of uncertainty. You are not always going to know the answer with 100% confidence. And in English, it is completely fine to say you think something without being certain. Your friend asks you when the movie starts. You remember seeing it online, but you are not totally sure. You say, I'm not sure, but I think it starts at 7. That is natural. That is honest. That is real English. Native speakers say this all the time. It shows you are thoughtful, not confused. I'm not sure, but I think. Let's take a breath here. You are doing well. These phrases might feel small, but small phrases used consistently. That is how fluency is actually built. 1 brick at a time. Here is a phrase that beginners often forget, and it is one of the most important ones. What does that mean? You will hear words you do not know. That is not a failure. That is just how learning works. Instead of guessing or ignoring, ask, what does that mean? Your coworker uses a word in a meeting you have never heard before. Instead of nodding along, you quietly ask afterward, hey, what does that mean? And now you know a new word. That word will stick because you asked about it in a real moment. What does that mean? For words. Massive tool. Now, let's practice something fun. The phrase, I think so. It is short, casual, and natural. Someone asks, is the restaurant open today? You are pretty sure it is, but you have not checked. You say, I think so.
Done.
It feels like such a tiny thing, but it sounds so much more natural than a long, hesitant answer. The beauty of I think so is that it gives an answer while being honest that you are not 100% certain. Beginners often try to avoid answering because they are not sure. This phrase lets you participate in the conversation while still being truthful. I think so. Here is one that will make you sound immediately more natural. That's interesting. You can use this when you learn something new, when someone tells you a story, when you hear an opinion you didn't expect. It buys you a second to think about your response, and it keeps the conversation going. Someone tells you they used to live in Japan for 3 years. You say, "That's interesting. What was that like?" And now you have a whole conversation started with 2 words and 1 question. Beautiful. That's interesting. Let's do one more practice. The phrase, "I'll try." This one is underrated. Learning a language is full of moments where someone asks you to do something and you are not sure you can do it. Your teacher asks you to read a paragraph out loud. You are nervous, but instead of saying nothing, you say, "I'll try." That 2-word sentence is brave. It says, "I am not certain, but I am willing." And that willingness, that courage to try even when you are uncomfortable, that is the real secret to learning English. Or any language. Or honestly, anything in life. I'll try. Now, let's put a few of these together in a small real-life scene so you can hear how they flow. Imagine you are at a new job and a colleague comes to you and says something quickly. You catch maybe half of it. You say, "I'm sorry, can you say that again?" They repeat it more slowly. You understand most of it, but there is one word you do not recognize. You say, "What does that mean?" They explain it. You nod and say, "That's interesting, I didn't know that." They ask if you can help with a task. You say, "I'll try." And just like that, a whole real conversation happened, with phrases you just practiced, in less than a minute. Do you see how this works? These are not random sentences. They are tools. And now you have them. Let's talk about one thing before we close, and this is important. Practice is not about waiting until you feel ready. You will never feel completely ready. The secret is to practice when you feel a little scared, when it feels a little uncomfortable, when the English is not flowing smoothly yet. That slight discomfort, that is where the learning lives. So, do not wait for a perfect moment. There is no such thing. Use the phrases today. Use them in a conversation, in a voice message, in front of the mirror, wherever you can. So this was practice of 10 real English phrases that might help you in everyday conversations. Maybe right now, today, this week. These are not textbook sentences. These are real words real people actually use. And now you have them. Here is your challenge for this week. Pick just 3 of these phrases, whichever 3 feel the most useful to you right now, and use each one at least once before next week. In a real conversation, in a voice note to a friend, in a comment below, anywhere. Just use them. 3 phrases. 1 week. That is it. And speaking of comments, I want to know, which phrase from today was the most new or the most useful to you? Tell me below. I read every single one.